It's your boy Mullah. This week after that five, we're back with another one. I'm about to take a look at Jackass spinoffs. If y'all watch Jackass, then you know what I'm talking about. But if you didn't, I'm sorry for you. This ain't for you. Here we go.
Couch. You've got a bag of 3D Doritos and an ice-cold Jolt soda by your side. You're surfing through TV channels, unsure of what to watch. You could just flip to the TV Guide channel to check the listings, but that's too much of a hassle at this point. You're in too deep. When suddenly, you stop on MTV and hear,
Jackass.
your search is finally over. The MTV series Jackass was a ratings juggernaut during its 2-year, 3-season run, but the tight filming schedule proved to be extremely taxing on the show's cast, leaving very little time for them to recover after injuries were sustained during the show's filming. Not only that, but the show's ringleader of sorts, Johnny Knoxville, was gaining traction as an actor and wanted to quit while the show was still, as he put it, special. But it wasn't long before a few of the show's cast members hosted their own spin-offs, which we'll be discussing on today's episode of Looking Back. The Jackass crew had several members, but the main cast was comprised of Johnny Knoxville,
Stevie,
Stevo, Chris Pontius, Jason Wee Man Acuna,
Wee Man,
Bam Margera,
Bam,
Ryan Dunn, Preston Lacey,
Preston,
Dave England,
Dave,
and Aaron McGeehee. When it came to entertaining an audience, each cast member had a unique appeal. The range of talent among them was undeniable. Suffice it to say, a few of the cast members were quickly presented with opportunities to host their own spin-off series. During this episode, we'll only be discussing TV shows that were directly hosted by members of the Jackass cast. So, I'm sorry, Celebrity Paranormal Project with Wee Man doesn't count.
Yes. My name's Wee Man, and you probably know me from Jackass. There's some serious activity going on there tonight. Full moon activity.
Remember when Stevo had his own skateboarding shoe brand called Snow? Well, if you don't, Stevo wears a shirt with the company's logo on nearly every episode of today's first Jackass spinoff, Dr. Stevo. Here's a show that would be completely uncontroversial and totally wouldn't be canceled before production even began, if it were made in the year 2021. Of course, I'm being sarcastic. The tagline for the show was turning wussies into men. That would never fly in modern times. The concept for Dr. Stevo was simple. Every episode, 3 participants, specifically men, no girls allowed.
No girls allowed.
Would send in video submissions to the show discussing their fear. Stevo would run them through various challenges related to those fears in hopes that they would overcome them by the end of the episode. The participants were given a diagnosis, followed by an initiation treatment, a personal procedure, and finally, a group therapy session, in which all 3 participants featured in the episode would run through a single challenge together. Every episode also included a segment called Raw Cut of the Week, presented by, you guessed it, Snowshoes. The main cast featured, obviously, Stevo, along with the driver for his tricked-out ambulance, Reggie Pace, and Trishelle Canatella, who played a nurse. The show featured a few celebrity guests, specifically friend of Stevo and pro skater Ryan Simonetti, and little-known up-and-coming reality TV star Kim Kardashian.
Everyone loves a good comeback story, right? Seabiscuit, the Mighty Ducks.
Kim Kardashian?
Well,
In the video, she gets cum on her back, I think.
The show ran for 1 season on the USA Network, airing on Mondays at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, immediately after WWE Raw. It seems that the show was canceled, but on an archived version of Stevo's website, he confirmed that Season 2 was planned. It never came to fruition, but as of January 2021, you can still watch the first 5 episodes of Dr. Stevo on YouTube, which I'll link in the description. I'm really thankful that these episodes are still so easily accessible, because no one should have to go through life without hearing the show's intro, featuring some dope-ass rhymes by Stevo himself.
Now everybody listen up.
Go get him, Steve!
I'm Stevo and I'm hitting the ropes. I'm making a bitchin' TV show.
This was just a taste of Stevo's rap talents. as he ended up releasing a full album less than a year later.
So would you guys rather listen to Stevo's rap album or have me push this plunger? Push that plunger!
Fearless explorers to some of the most exotic places on the planet, Stevo and Chris Pontius ventured into lands rich with native cultures and dangerous
man, I
wildlife.
remember this.
These are the Wild Boys.
The Wild Boys.
Wild Boys premiered on MTV October 26, 2003, as a part of their Sunday night programming block, Sunday Stew. The concept of Wild Boys was simple. Take a typical travel or nature documentary series and flip it on its head, by including outrageous stunts and concepts not normally seen on those types of programs. For example, a typical nature documentary would only show you footage of a grizzly bear from afar. Wild Boys shows a grizzly bear eating marshmallows and licking honey off of Stevo's torso. But sending two jackasses into uncharted territory with deadly animals is never a smart idea. That's why the show enlisted two experts, Manny Puig, predatory animal expert, and David Weathers, who the guys lovingly referred to as the Snake Idiot, both of which stepped in to not only educate the guys on the behaviors of certain wildlife, but they also acted as a safety net in case anything went wrong. Over the series' 4-season run, the content of the show transitioned from being purely nature-related to also including stunts that didn't involve animals, such as the roller derby segment in the California episode. Not only that, but the typical nature documentary narration done by Jacob Whitkin wasn't used as often as the show went on. The series also had guest appearances by fellow Jackass members, Wee Man and Johnny Knoxville. With the show slowly changing over its run, it was clear that the cast was eager to work on another Jackass movie, which they would release less than a year after Wild Boys ended in 2006, in the form of Jackass #2. Even after the series concluded, it had a lasting appeal. Reruns were played on MTV2 for over a decade after the show ended. This series is still extremely watchable in 2021. Wild Boys is actually a very comforting show to watch during a pandemic when traveling isn't recommended. Plus, you get to see some great cameo appearances by Tony Hawk, Bob Burnquist, Method Man, and David Hasselhoff.
Your house.
Among reality television shows, but was insanely high compared to the shoestring budget used on the CKY video series.
300,000.
Unlike Wild Boys or Dr. Stevo, Viva La Bam featured a large ensemble cast,
An episode.
led by Bam Margera, with Brendan DiCamillo, Ryan Dunn, Chris Rabb, Ray Kyon, along with supporting cast members such as Tim Glom and Bam's family members, his mom and dad, April and Phil, and his exuberant uncle, Don
Viva
Vito.
La Bam, baby.
The series mostly took place in Bam's hometown of Westchester, Pennsylvania, but the show took viewers to places like Mexico, New Orleans, Las Vegas, France, Italy, Monaco, and Finland. And for Don Vito, a layover in Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi. You don't know what
The
he's
show's
saying.
large and varied cast only heightened its appeal, as each cast member offered a different comedic style to the mix. Bam was the driving force behind all of the pranks and stunts on the show. Ryan Dunn had his trademark sarcasm and self-deprecating humor. Brendan DiCamillo, a comedic genius who was always coming up with songs on a whim, wearing insane costumes and creating characters. Chris Rabb, who was always portrayed as the sidekick idiot of the group, but was hilarious in his own right. And Ray Kyon, the mad scientist of the group, who had a pretty dry sense of humor, but always meshed well with Deco, especially when Deco threw on a curly wig and pretended to be
Yeah.
him. Meanwhile, Bam's uncle Don Vito kind of stole the spotlight from everyone by just reacting to the antics of the crew. His gibberish will never not be funny. As great as Viva La Bam was, the show was clearly dragged down by MTV, who had
Dragged
sort of a
down.
corporate stranglehold over the production process of the show. Chris Rabb and Joe Franz discussed this on Rabb's podcast.
So we talked about how corporate Viva La Bam was.
Right.
This is a script
Oh yeah.
from 2004 from Viva La Bam. So this is
Pirates,
what they would give us. So let's see what MTV had envisioned.
Script.
Shall we? Do you want to get into
Reality
this?
TV,
Okay, well,
guys.
let's read the first page. Cold open. Interior, Castle Bam. April is in the kitchen making sandwiches for Dunn and Bam. She says, "It's always so noisy with all the hammering outside. They've been building that deck for a week now. When will they be finished?" "When it's done," says
This is
Bam.
a whole like movie script.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah.
ridiculous.
We never even read these.
I know, and I remember like when you would get.
There's been a lot of debate over the years about how much of Viva La Bam was, quote, scripted. Every television
weren't
show is
going.
scripted in one way or another. Viva La Bam was no exception. Clearly, they didn't just go into every episode blind. They needed a plot device of some kind to retain the structure of each episode. But at the end of the day, all that matters is the entertainment value of the show, which Viva La Bam provided in spades. Of the 3 spin-offs I've discussed today, this one is my favorite, hands down. My sense of humor was almost completely shaped by this series, specifically because of Ryan Dunn and Brandon DiCamillo. Another aspect of the show that left an impression on a lot of people was the soundtrack, which was curated by Bam. I discovered so many bands because of the show, like CKY, Turbo Negro, Clutch, Mastodon, and Beatsteaks, to name a few. The show might have only run for about 2 years, but it had a lasting
2
legacy
years, people.
with multiple spin-offs, which I discussed in a previous video. But if you've watched the entire series and want more, there's a lost episode that takes place in Iceland, which can be watched on a bonus DVD that came with Viva La Band's,
Viva La
music compilation
Bands.
CD put out by Bam. Also, the series made a one-time return in 2006 for a special called Viva La Spring Break.
Viva La Spring Break.
After the completion of Jackass the series, Jackass the movie was made as a final send-off for the fans. The cast didn't intend to make any further additions to the franchise. But this intention was clearly short-lived, as there have been multiple feature films, and a 4th Jackass movie is being worked on right now, over 20 years after the series premiered. The 2000s MTV era will truly never be replicated, although they did try, with shows like Too Stupid to Die, which had the same concept as Jackass, but in my opinion, wasn't nearly as entertaining. Jackass was like lightning in a bottle. It came out at just the right time and had the perfect cast of characters behind it.
Came out at the right time, people.
That'll do it for today's episode.
Well, there you have it. It's your boy Mullah. This week out there, 5. Jackass is about to come out with a new one. So, we'll be back with another one. And I'm out of here. Bow.